A special hello to all those free-to-play junkies out there. We have another one to throw in the pile and another funeral to attend. Welcome back to McFly, my little corner on the internet where I just sit around here and talk about video games and stuff. In this one, we're here to talk about Spectre Divide. It's only been about 2 weeks since its console launch, and I think about 6 months since its initial launch in September. And yet again, another free-to-play game with no IP, and it's about to go the way of the dodo. Coming off the back of 2024, it's almost like 2024 was the peak of free-to-play model. And that not in a good way, because a lot failed, a lot chasing that Fortnite dream. I don't get it, man. Fortnite's success has got the whole video game industry fucked up. Now, I know they're not the first person to introduce a battle pass, but it's almost since that battle royale fully launched and that saw such a success, there have been so many people trying to chase that model and improve upon it. Those are just my thoughts on it. Of course, you can leave yours in the comments. Feel free.
Jeez.
And though I brought Fortnite into this, Fortnite's not the model that this game was going for. In my opinion, Spectre Divide actually had a fun niche with the duality thing. I like the idea. It's a good answer to the bomb placement PvP game style. But when you make a game like this, you're coming for the big dogs. You're coming for the big boy players, the CSGO, any type of Counter-Strike really. Rainbow Six Siege has really made a name over they just celebrated 10 years, and it's a big swing, and it was a big swing and a miss. And though Spectre Divide did have the free-to-play model and the battle pass and all the shiny little flares to go with it, it's almost like they took everything and mashed it together. It can be a lesson and goes to show that just because you put all these things that work together doesn't mean that it's still going to work. Now, I'm a little late on the news by a couple days, but for anybody who hasn't heard yet, and if you haven't gotten the vibe yet, Spectre Divide is officially shutting down. As of recording 3 days ago, they are finally throwing in the towel. Essentially, they've run out of capital, and we'll get to their very long descriptive note in a second, because I actually really appreciate the time they took to write out this goodbye note, especially off the back of Multiversus. This one seems way more transparent and seems like they care about their players way more than a normal free-to-play game. But before we get into that, I want to put a spotlight on Spectre Divide real quick, just go over a few things, because I don't think it was all for naught. There were some really good ideas here, and it truly was a passion project by its team. And by team, I mean Mountaintop Studios. This was a fully dedicated team of gamers, for gamers, making a game. And though I would say to its detriment, if you ever Google this thing, it's tied to one of the bigger streamers called Shroud, and it's kind of become his moniker of a game. So whenever you see this game's name, it's always tied to Shroud. That might have been a misstep along the way, just for morale reasons, and they even had him as a lead gameplay designer. Not only is it a bit of conflict of interest, but all it takes is that one streamer or that one pro player to complain about something, and then they just dash it. I think they also did a similar thing in Multiversus, but that's just me. Especially when you have a team of possibly 25 plus people working on a passion project. Why would you tie it down to a streamer's thoughts? And overall, I love the idea. Like I said, this is a classic PvP first-person shooter with bomb placement, strategic, whatever. You know, like, yeah, it's basically Counter-Strike's game mode. You know, you start off the game, it's first-person shooter, you gotta go plant the bomb, defuse the bomb. And again, when you're making a game like this, you're coming for the big dogs. And Counter-Strike has 20 plus years on this kind of game type. And then you also have Rainbow Six Siege making a name for itself in the background. I guess maybe the idea was there could be a third best. And we kind of said a similar thing when we streamed this. People are already invested in Counter-Strike. They already have a bunch of cosmetics in Counter-Strike and Siege. They're not ready to open up to another game and dump money, which I guess could lead me on to my next point. The microtransactions. Seriously, look at this. I don't understand how any game... I know game development is costly, but it can't demand this much money on a microtransaction. Can't even call it microtransaction anymore, just transaction. Especially when you're a new game coming out of the gate with no IP. Your lowest amount skin is about $5, and it's just a color change. It's just a palette swap. Maybe I'm just ignorant to it. Whenever a free-to-play game launches these days, it always has this super costly microtransaction plan. And then they also launch a battle pass alongside it, so they want more money on that end. So the gaming market is just in a weird place right now. I really don't understand. Also, one more nail in the coffin. Rainbow Six Siege is about to launch Rainbow Six Siege X. Actually, if you have a Twitch account, you can watch a half hour of Rainbow Six, and you can get a free closed beta key to play in the closed beta for Siege X right now. I think Siege X is set to release in June, so that would even just kill it more. It's a lost cause for Spectre Divide at this point. And before we get into the note, we'll just take a quick look at the Steam charts here. And at launch, September 2024, The game launched with 30K Steam players, and that is just, for a free-to-play game, I think that's pretty abysmal, and then it just tanks from there. Granted, it was only a PC launch, but there are millions of people on Steam daily. Especially, I know there's millions of people like me just checking out the free-to-play board, and only 30K people played on day one. And obviously, I didn't play this game on PC on launch, so I don't know how they treated their community, but it just tanked immediately. You can already see the drop-off. It only took about 2 months till November, and then they were already below 1,000 players per day. Fast forward to when there's console news and the Season 1 Flashpoint launch, you bump up to about 1,100, and now, as of the making of this video, 138-ish. But like I said, that Steam Siege X beta is out right now, so that's probably why this is super low. I imagine some people are going to try to play this up until it closes down. And now I want to play this letter that Mountaintop Studio Games wrote to all its players as a big thank you for trying out the game, and I would call it pretty transparent, but again, it's going to get weird when they start talking about player numbers. We're going to look at that after the fact. But I want to give them a plus extra 30 points here just for being so nice. It actually reads genuine.
Dear Spectre fans, it's been 2 weeks since we launched Spectre Divide Season 1 Flashpoint. We're incredibly grateful for the positivity and support that you've shown over that short time. Unfortunately, the Season 1 launch hasn't achieved the level of success we needed to sustain the game and keep Mountaintop afloat. We were optimistic about the first week. We've had 400,000 players play, with a peak in current player count of 10,000 across all platforms. But as time has gone on, we haven't seen enough active players and incoming revenue to cover the day-to-day costs of Spectre and the studio. Since the PC launch, we stretched our remaining capital as far as we could, but at this point, we're out of funding to support the game. This means Mountaintop will be closing its doors at the end of this week. We expect to take Spectre offline within the next 30 days, but we plan on disabling new purchases and refunding money spent in Season 1 launch via the platforms. We'll be following up with more information on this soon. We pursued every avenue to keep going, including finding a publisher, additional investment, and/or an acquisition. In the end, we weren't able to make it work. The industry is in a tough spot right now. This is a painful update to share. We love Spectre, and we're incredibly proud of what we built with this community. From the entire team at Mountaintop, I want to thank the Spectre community for all your support these past few years. We've loved every minute, and we're sincerely going to miss you. Special thanks to our incredible investors, too, without which Spectre wouldn't have been possible. This has always been a passion project for us, born out of love for this genre. An indie team of insanely talented individuals who came together from around the world to build a game we believed in. We wanted to deliver something innovative and original in a crowded genre that would bring friends together around unforgettable moments. We shook up the format, created a fresh art style and universe, and partnered with some of our heroes. All of us knew from the beginning that the odds were against us, but that's what we signed up for. It was never a surefire bet. We did it anyway. We had a few tough stumbles out of the gate when we launched in September, but this team rallied and poured everything into tackling your critical feedback for Season 1. We made major changes and improvements to virtually every area of the game and brought the game to consoles. Even though it wasn't enough to achieve financial success, this team fought tooth and nail and went down swinging. Game development is full of twists, turns, and surprises, and the industry has changed dramatically since we started the project in 2020. Even though we missed the mark this time, we wouldn't trade the journey for anything. That's all from us. See you out there. Nate and the Mountaintop team.
Like I said, really sweet note. It just reads really genuine to me. But about those player numbers, I understand you didn't have enough to keep afloat, and especially when I look at the Steam charts. But 400K? And you didn't launch on console till 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I know this game can be played probably on other platforms like Epic and all that, but really? I don't know. It's just some weird stuff right there. But there you have it. Another game just to throw away and log into your memory bank. Remember it in about 20 years and be like, hey, remember that one thing that happened for 6 months? I don't know what it is. And they even echo it in that note. The game industry is just not in a good space right now. There's just such a disconnect between players and developers, or not even developers, the heads that are making all the big head decisions. I'm just hoping the game industry gets the hint soon to stop pull back on the free-to-play games. Everybody's trying to do that now. Everyone. Everything needs a free-to-play game, IP game model. Me and my buddy Joe just played Split Fiction. Solely co-op, story-driven, I guess single player, but co-op. There's no reason for me to dump more money into the game or anything. I had a blast, and though it's possibly a one-and-done playthrough, I'd argue you could play it 2 times just to switch sides, because there are different mechanics and stuff. And I paid $50 for it. Totally happy with it. That's all I needed. I know the company wants more money, and it's EA, ironically. But with that basic model, what do they get? You sell 1 million copies in your first 48 hours, and then due to good word of mouth, you sell 2 million in a week. That is a success, and I only imagine that's going to grow from here. And if there's one fact that rings true through all the years of gaming, word of mouth can send the smallest indie all the way to the top. And sorry, just to blow smoke up its ass a little more, we got a 4.9 rating on PlayStation with almost 10,000 ratings. That's solid. I haven't even looked at the Metacritic. But then, of course, let's play a little devil's advocate and double-edged sword here. I've been following FragPunk, which actually released, I want to say a week ago? I think it's about a week ago. And this is another 5v5 hero shooter with a few little tweaks. I guess there's something with cards and changing the rules while you play. And it's a full non-IP free-to-play game, and it's currently sitting at number 19 on top games on Steam. And that's only a PC release. They had to prolong the console edition. I hope it comes out soon. I really want to try it. But look at their Steam chart. They actually launched to about 13,000 players. This was a small release game. And 3 days later, they jumped to about 100K based on word of mouth, I imagine. And though, yeah, it's only been about a week, maybe a week and a half, they're starting to have a steady coast. It's not a direct drop like Spectre Divide was. And honestly, that might be due to this game having a fun factor. Spectre Divide probably attracted a bunch of sweats. But as you can see here, almost a week and a half later, it's sitting at 75K players right now. And if that had a console release, I imagine maybe triple that. There's a lot more players on console. What I'm trying to say here is, well, FragPunk, please come to console. I would love to play it. And 2, it can work. I haven't seen their microtransactions. I hope they're not too egregious, but it's working for them a little bit. I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's only been a week and a half, but it's better than Spectre Divide did. But that's it for me. I'm done rambling. We got more free-to-play games to watch, probably more funerals to attend. Again, thank you for attending this one. Likes are always appreciated, and I will catch you out there in the gaming space.